I refused to let my wife's best friend into our house after he disrespected me. And now I can't forgive my wife for siding with him. I never imagined I'd be writing something like this, but here we are. Buckle up because I'm about to tell you how a simple misunderstanding turned into one of the worst periods of my life. Let me set the stage. I've been married to my wife Emily for 5 years. We've had our ups and downs, as most couples do, but overall, things have been good. Until her best friend, Matt, decided to shove his nose where it didn't belong and absolutely wreck our home life for months. It all started one evening when Matt saw me at a club. Now, before you jump to conclusions, let me clarify. I was at the club for business purposes. My boss invited me out for drinks with a few clients to close a major deal. It wasn't a wild night of debauchery, it was networking. The kind of thing that, helps pay the bills. But of course, Matt didn't care about the context. A few days after that night, Matt came over to our house for one of his frequent visits. He's always been a bit too involved in our relationship for my liking, but I've put up with it because he's Emily's best friend. I was in the kitchen, minding my own business, when I overheard him say something to my wife that made my blood boil. Matt said, "Emily, I saw your husband at the club the other night. You might want to ask him what he was doing there. Looked like he was lounging around like some lounge lizard. Probably trying to score with someone. A lounge lizard, first of all. Who even uses that term anymore? Second, I was there for work. I couldn't believe this guy had the audacity to say that about me, in my own house, no less. The disrespect was unbelievable. But the worst part, Emily believed him. She didn't even ask me about it. She just started acting cold, distant, and suspicious. I mean, really. She's known me for years, and yet one offhand comment from Matt was enough to plant doubt in her mind. Things went downhill fast. Every time I came home late from work or mentioned having to go to an event, Emily would shoot me this icy look like I'd done something wrong. We started arguing more. She kept bringing up what Matt said, demanding to know why I was out with my boss at a club. She kept using the words, lounge lizard, like it was a fact. I said, "Emily, I was there for business, you know that." Matt wasn't even close enough to hear the conversations, so why the hell is he making these accusations? But Emily said, "Well, he wouldn't lie to me. Maybe you were acting in a way that made it look like you were up to something." Let me tell you, that hurt. I love my wife, but hearing her say that killed me. It was as if she didn't trust me at all anymore. And it wasn't like I hadn't done anything to earn her distrust. There was no shady business, no flirting, nothing. I was just trying to do my job. But Matt kept coming around. He'd visit Emily while I was at work, and whenever I was home, he'd smirk at me, like he knew something I didn't. You know the type, someone who's always stirring the pot, but pretends to be innocent. It took everything in me not to snap at him every time he walked into our home. Then, one day, I reached my breaking point. Matt showed up unannounced, as usual, and started making his usual passive-aggressive comments. But this time, I wasn't having it, he said, back from another night of business. "Hope you didn't lounge too hard." I couldn't take it anymore. I looked him dead in the eye and said, "I told that he is not welcome here anymore. I'm done with his disrespect," and told him to get out. Emily was furious. She couldn't believe I'd banned her best friend from the house. She accused me of being controlling, of overreacting, but I was at my limit. I couldn't tolerate someone who thought it was okay to slander me in front of my wife, in my own home. And instead of backing me up, Emily sided with him. I'll never forget the argument we had that night. She was more concerned about Matt's feelings than mine. It was like she'd forgotten all the years we'd spent together, all the trust we'd built. Every time I tried to explain how disrespectful Matt was being, she brushed it off as me being too sensitive. Emily was angrily told me, "He's my best friend. You can't just throw him out like that." I made it clear. He accused me of cheating, Emily. He disrespected me in my own home, and you're letting him. How can you not see that? We didn't speak much for the next few days. The atmosphere at home was suffocating. Emily's cold shoulder, the tension, it was unbearable. I started staying out longer just to avoid coming home to the icy silence. I couldn't believe my wife, the person who should have had my back, had turned against me over a lie. My home didn't feel like home anymore. Update. Months of hell later, the truth finally came out. My boss, the one I'd been out with at the club, invited both me and Emily to a work event. I saw it as the perfect opportunity to clear the air. I wanted her to meet him, see for herself that there was nothing suspicious going on. We went, and to my relief, everything went smoothly. My boss even went out of his way to tell her how important I was to the company, and how the deal we closed that night, at the club, was a game changer. Emily's face fell. She knew she had been wrong. That night, she broke down, apologizing for ever doubting me. She admitted she had let Matt's words get into her head, and that she hadn't even considered the possibility that he might be wrong. She was sorry for not trusting me, for making our home life a nightmare for months. I wanted to accept her apology, but the damage was done. I couldn't just let go of how deeply she'd hurt me. It wasn't just about Matt anymore. It was about the fact that she hadn't believed me when I needed her to. Just when I thought things couldn't get worse, they did. One night I was scrolling through Facebook, trying to take my mind off everything, when I saw it, a post from Matt, publicly calling me out. It was vague, but clearly directed at me. Something like, "Some guys pretend they're all about business, but we all know they're just slimy lounge lizards who can't be trusted around women." I saw red. This guy had the nerve to drag me on social media after everything he'd already done. Enough was enough. I showed the post to Emily, and for the first time in months, she was on my side. Without hesitation, she jumped into the comments and clarified the entire situation for all of Facebook to see. She wrote, "Just to set the record straight, Matt's been spreading lies about my husband for months now. My husband was at the club for work, not for anything shady, and Matt's accusations have caused nothing but pain in our marriage. This needs to stop." It wasn't long before Matt deleted the post, but the damage was already done. People in their friend group started turning against him. Some reached out to Emily, shocked that Matt would make such accusations. Others simply cut ties with him altogether. The tables had turned. After the Facebook fiasco, Emily cut off all contact with Matt. She saw him for what he really was, someone who thrived on creating drama and stirring up trouble. It wasn't an easy decision for her, and I know it hurt her deeply to lose her best friend, but she knew it was the right thing to do. Not long after that, Emily initiated family therapy. She knew we couldn't just sweep everything under the rug and pretend it didn't happen. She was determined to make things right between us, and I agreed to give therapy a try, even though I was still so angry. The therapy sessions have been tough, I won't lie. There are days when I wonder if we'll ever fully recover from this. Emily has been doing everything she can to show me she regrets siding with Matt. But forgiveness doesn't come easily when your trust has been shattered like that. We've made some progress. I can see how hard Emily is trying, and I appreciate that she's taking responsibility for her part in all this, but it's going to take time. A lot of time. We're still healing, and some days are better than others. As for Matt, he's pretty much persona non grata now. Emily's other friends have turned their backs on him after realizing the extent of his lies and manipulations. I've heard through the grapevine that he's pretty isolated these days. I'd feel sorry for him if I wasn't still so pissed off. So here we are, months after the nightmare began. Our marriage is slowly on the mend, but things will never be the same. I don't know if I'll ever be able to fully forgive Emily for what happened, but I'm trying. I guess only time will tell if we can come out of this stronger, or if the damage is just too deep to repair. For now, all I can say is this: never let someone else's words come between you and your spouse. If you can't trust each other, everything falls apart. Trust is fragile, and once it's broken, it's damn near impossible to put back together. And F you, doormat.